Everybody, JayC here, and welcome to a Thursday night live stream. And I didn't have a whole lot to talk about today, so I thought we'd open up some new G.I. Joe classified figures. I've got quite a few that have kind of been piling up, so I just got this one today from HasLab Pulse, the Chuckles figure. And then also fairly recently here, I got Tripwire, also from HasLab Pulse. From Big Bad Toy Store, I got Buzzer, so my first Dreadnought is now here. And then finally, I ended up getting this 2-pack of the Steel Brigade troopers, which honestly, the most enticing thing for this set was the jetpacks. So I thought we would open these up here tonight and take a look at them. I also have just some other recent Joe figures that I've gotten here, and I thought we'd take a kind of a look at these as well. So Hasbro's really been hitting it out of the park, I think, with most of these G.I. Joe classified figures, and we have been getting quite a few of them here recently. At least I have. So that's pretty much what I had on for the agenda today. But let's see who's here in the house tonight. Let's see, we've got Penny Rooster Reviews. What's up? Rashid, what's going on? Joseph, how's everyone doing? Nerd Alert, what's up? Jay the Grind, brought 3 sets of troopers. Awesome. Horn Viper, G.I. Joe number 31 is coming out November. Yep, from Image Comics, Skybound Comics. I want to say like G.I. Joe, and I could be wrong on this, but I want to say like G.I. Joe is the only comic title, like ongoing comic title, that has gone through 3 different companies. We had, the original run in Marvel, which then continued on through IDW, and then now through Skybound. So it's kind of impressive. Devil's Due had G.I. Joe, but they didn't do the Larry Hama series, so we didn't get a continuation of the Marvel series until IDW picked things up. But kind of impressive that we're still getting from that original. Obviously, we've got a bunch of other G.I. Joe titles and stuff from various companies over the years as well, but just that kind of regular Marvel title has been continuing to go. Now, I got to be honest, I have all of the Marvel run of the Hama books. I have some of the IDW, like I started with the IDW, but I ended up kind of like moving away. Like I didn't get them all. Like I didn't finish out the Hama run. I don't know. It's been several years since I picked up a G.I. Joe comic, but I did get some of the earlier IDW ones, and then and I haven't tried the Skybound stuff, which honestly, with the artwork I've been seeing from the Skybound, I have not been super impressed. So just so I've not been impressed with the IDW or the artwork from the Skybound, but otherwise, uh, you know. But I have fond memories of the G.I. Joe Marvel run, because that's really what kind of got me into G.I. Joe. Well, no, the comics themselves didn't really get me into G.I. Joe. I think the commercials for the comics is what really got me into G.I. Joe. I mean, the cartoon as well, but for those of you that grew up in the 80s, G.I. Joe comics had actual, like, really awesome commercials. In fact, it's really one of the only comic book titles I can think of that actually had TV commercials promoting it. And they had the cartoon, like little mini cartoon episodes that would promote the comic book. So that's really what kind of got me into reading GI Joe, and then that really, GI Joe and Transformers led me into reading other Marvel titles and stuff. The Nurler says, I have a bag of figs on my floor in my apartment, and 2 snow jobs are in the bag. You've got two? Yeah, I only got one. Only one. I get sometimes I'll get doubles of the troopers, but even those I don't. Two is usually my max. And yeah, not only a snow job, but the snow serpent. I think Hasbro did a really good job with as well. That's another really solid figure. But out of these new ones, probably Buzzer is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, I really, the original three Dreadnoks, so Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch, and obviously Ripper has already been, pre-orders have already been open for Ripper, and now we're just waiting for Torch, which I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing him either tomorrow during the 1027 event or maybe during the London MCM convention. I wouldn't be surprised if that one ends up going up for pre-order like on the 31st or something. So we're still using the windowless packaging with G.I. Joe. They have not yet gone back to window boxes with the G.I. Joe figures. I know with Marvel Legends and Star Wars, we're starting to see a return of the window packaging, but I have not. And one thing, I was a little disappointed with Buzzer in that we did not get his 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 chainsaw gun type weapon. Like they just gave him a regular chainsaw. Like in the original toy and the cartoon and everything, it was an actual like looked like a rifle that had instead of shooting out bullets was a chainsaw with a diamond tip. So it would cut through, almost anything. So I was a little disappointed they didn't give us that. Corn Viper says, funny how if you make comics for kids, it leads them to reading more comics as they get older. Why doesn't? Well, I think the problem is that comics are way too expensive for kids these days. Um, back when I was reading comics, first reading comics, they cost probably when I really got into reading comics, the average price was 75 cents, but it was pretty, even before that, it was like 25, 50 cents. And when I finished, like shortly, I remember for a good long while where comics were like $1, 25. But when they started getting up into the $3 and $5 range, that's when I really kind of stopped reading most comic books because it just was too expensive. And I mean, I also think the quality and stories weren't as good as like I remember them from when I was younger. But mostly it's the price, and there's not many kids that are going to go out and spend $5 for a comic book. All right, so let's head over to the review studio so we can get a closer look at Buzzer here. So I gotta say, it's weird looking at him without his glasses. So let's get his glasses on here first. And the glasses don't seem to stay on there very good. His ears don't stick out enough to hold them in place, and they didn't like put little holes or anything on the head. So that's kind of a bummer. I really, honestly, with this kind of thing, I really wish either we got just two different head sculpts, or they just made the glasses, sculpted on the figure. Because, I mean, Buzzer never takes his glasses off, so I don't really see the point of removable glasses. And in this case, those glasses they're not going to stay on there that well. So that's going to be a pain in the ass. And they just look kind of funny because they don't fit on the face completely. It kind of sticks out, here a little bit. So I really think it would have been, see, I touched it and they just fell right off. So I really feel like the glasses being removable doesn't add that much, and the figure would have looked a lot better if they had just given us sculpted glasses. If they couldn't give us two head sculpts, one without glasses and one with, then I would have rather had a head sculpt with the sculpted glasses as opposed to the removable ones. But otherwise, the figure I think looks pretty good. Now, I don't remember Buzzer having this tattoo. This looks like kind of just a new addition that they decided to add to the classified version, which is a cobra. Looks like has like a sword through it or something. But otherwise, I think it looks good. But yeah, definitely those glasses, I think. Either they need to have come up with a way to make them stay on better, or just made them sculpted. So here's his chainsaw. So again, they've just given him like a regular old chainsaw, not like his weapon chainsaw. So that I definitely didn't really like. I mean, it's a nice looking chainsaw. It's got the metallic silver and the blades and everything. But again, I feel like they should have given us his weapon. I remember the original figure having something like this. You never saw him use it in the cartoon, a weapon like this in the cartoon or anything, but I do vaguely remember the original figure having a weapon like this, so I'm guessing that's why they included this. Then you get this one. This is something kind of new, like a chainsaw axe type thing is what it kind of looks like. And then he just gets a knife. And then a pistol. I kind of like the tape wrapped around the handle. I don't know, that seems like something a Dreadnought would do, so kind of like that little extra touch. But I like that he's got the dog tags, and he's got this. I want to say that's like supposed to be a badge that he stole off a cop or something. I like the belt, the skull on the belt, very 80s spiky things there. So I like that. Puppy Flex says, someone at Hasbro does not know their Joe. His face is great. The brand has great kissers in general. Yeah, the head sculpt itself I think looks good. I just don't like the glasses. And like those are gonna fall off. Anytime you try and touch the head, those are just gonna fall off really easy. So I like it, but there definitely could be a few things a little better on that one. But overall, I think the figure's good, but definitely should have given us his classic chainsaw weapon. And definitely, I feel like either two head sculpts or just giving us the head sculpt with the sculpted glasses. Because I feel like most of us are going to pose him, with the glasses on, not with the glasses off. So, I don't know. And I think they did the same thing with Ripper, too. And I didn't really like the removable glasses on him either. So sometimes I think they overthink it. Like, ooh, let's give him removable glasses. That'll be a cool extra little feature. But sometimes I think they overthink it, make it a little too complicated. So you have too many things falling off the figure too easily, and that kind of takes away from it. So definitely in the case of Ripper, I feel like they could have just given us the sculpted glasses. So next up, we've got Tripwire here, which, you know, it's weird that they made Tripwire a deluxe figure, because I don't know, just because of that he was never really that important of a character. You know, I barely remember him. I don't even really remember him that much in the comics at all. And as far as the cartoon, you know, he popped up here and there occasionally, but he wasn't like I remember him he was in the cave with Snake Eyes in the Mass Device miniseries. And then I remember him being on the island in the Weather Dominator miniseries. You know, his most iconic role phrase was when he runs up to Flint and he's like, "Get ready to scramble and ramble." So, I don't know. Kind of a weird choice that they made him a deluxe. I hate these bags because it seems like I'm always like I'll look and I think I've gotten all the accessories out of it, and then I'll like be missing an accessory and I've got to go back and it like got stuck down there in the bag. So I'm not a huge fan of these bags that they use on these figures. So Tripwire here, you know, they definitely have gone more with like the bomb disposal look. You know, he looks like somebody from the bomb disposal unit. And I don't know. I guess that, I mean, to me, Tripwire was just the guy with the metal detector. And I don't remember any of you if you remember, but there was actually a version of Tripwire you could get. Like if you got the cassette and storybook, there it would come with a Tripwire figure. I don't know why they stuck Tripwire in that, but that's one of the things I almost remember most about Tripwire was that cassette and storybook version that came out. But yeah, they definitely have given him, you know, all this padding and stuff is like something you would see, you know, somebody's going in to disarm a bomb or something. I mean, I guess, you know, he does, you know, his job is to go out and find like mines and stuff, I guess is kind of like his specialty. So I guess it kind of fits with bomb disposal and stuff. And they given him this little bomb disposal droid type thing. They give him, I don't know why we've got two different vests. I mean, again, I guess they wanted to throw in extra stuff for it being a deluxe figure, but I'm not really sure why. What's the point for the... I want to say we've never really had a bomb disposal G.I. Joe figure. And I don't really have any idea what the story behind the rat is. I don't remember a rat being associated with Tripwire, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's something from the comics I've forgotten or something, but I don't know why he comes with a rat. Now, one thing I do remember about the original toy was he had the backpack with the little, you know, discs or, you know, basically mines that you could pop out of it. So I think you could, there were like 3 of them you could put in there. So with this, they've given you 2 mines, but you can only put 1 in the backpack. So So we'll pop back over. Nerd Alert says, loves the cartoon look, but the new look is cool too. Corn Viper says, we need Dreadnought motorcycles. You know, there are like, you know, if you go on Amazon, I think you could probably find a motorcycle that's in scale with these figures. So I feel like there's enough motorcycle. I mean, it would maybe be good. I'd rather have, you know, honestly, I'd rather have swamp skiers than motorcycles. Like swamp skiers for all the Dreadnoughts and Zartan. But let us get our good friend here, Tripwire. So Tripwire now, you know, Tripwire had the funny helmet that was not removable, and I don't recall him ever taking his helmet off in like the cartoon or anything. So we never really got a good look at the face of Tripwire. So this is kind of our first real look. So this helmet is more in keeping with how the original figure looked. So that gives you more of your classic Tripwire look. Whereas this one is all about, you know, bomb disposal. So this, you know, again would be something you'd see like a bomb disposal guy using. So, and they give you this extra piece too if you want to go with that look. And then they give you, the, of course, the metal detector. And like on the original figure, you could hook the metal detector up to his backpack. I'm not sure why that really is, because most metal detectors, you know, you don't need a backpack, but that was always something that the original figure had. So, and he's got a little thing similar to what we saw with scrap iron. So this is, I guess, to control his bomb disposal droid, whatever you want to call this. He's got the pistol. He's got his rank insignia. So if you're like actually outside, you could plug this into the ground, but here you've got the little peg for it going into the backpack, so you can't really have it sit flat on the ground. Of course, not that I really would consider him a bomb disposal guy, but I guess in the cartoon Law and Order, you know, what was it? Law finds the bombs and Order disarms them or something like that. But 46 Zone says, The rat is homage to real life use of rats in bomb disposal. I did not know that. I did not know they used rats in real life bomb disposal. So that's an interesting. That makes sense, I guess. I used Old Man Hawkeye for the second uniform and an old extra head I had. Rats with bomb disposal. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I actually never knew that. I'm not going to flip out. I'm not going to switch out the vests. But straighten up his helmet a little bit there. I definitely think he looks better with the helmet on. I don't know, he just looks weird without having a helmet. But overall, I'd say that looks pretty good. It's a weird choice for a deluxe figure, but again, I guess, going with the bomb disposal, stuff, I guess it kind of makes sense. Again, they gave you the droid. I mean, this isn't something we ever had with the original figure, so this is completely new for Tripwire. It's like, is Tripwire now the arch nemesis of Firefly? Yeah, because Firefly was, Cobra's man for setting bombs and stuff. So I feel like Tripwire is now his kind of like his nemesis. So this is the new Firefly figure, which I know a lot of people like. The ab crunch is definitely loose on mine, but he still holds his pose. Like, I haven't had any issue with him like falling over or anything like that. So it is very loose, but it's tight enough that it still does the job. I don't know why it came out so loose, but and maybe over time it could become more of a problem. I don't know, but for the most part, he seems to stay in his poses pretty good. And I do like the look of this new Firefly over, the Target one. So definitely like that figure. Well, I agree. I mean, I guess as a kid though, I never really thought of it as bomb disposal. I mean, you're 100% right. If your job's to go out and find mines, or bombs or whatever, explosives or whatever, then it makes sense that you would try and disarm them. But as a kid, I guess I never really made that connection. So, but I agree with you. It's a nice update. Like you said, to me as a kid, he was the guy with the metal detector, and like, I had a friend who had a metal detector, and we'd go out and look for things. We'd find pennies or stuff in the ground and stuff. So I just never really thought about it from. And in the cartoon, I don't even think he ever disarmed anything or found any. I mean, he really didn't do his job in the cartoon that he was kind of assigned to. Like, somehow he knew seismic activity and that there was an earthquake coming. In the pyramid or in the Weather Dominator miniseries when they were on the island. So, I don't know. Nerd Alert says, loving the drone droid. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a nice update to the character. Um, he's a little bulkier than I'm kind of used to for the character, but again, I do think it's a nice touch. You can also, if you don't want him holding the metal detector, you can attach it in the back. Can't remember if the original figure had that ability. I think it did, but I won't swear to it. But yeah, I would say definitely a nice improvement on a character that really, just never had a significant role in the original GI Joe. So unlike like Grunt, they gave him like up, he's got kind of an updated look, but I feel like Grunt's a little too busy. I mean, he looks good, and if you're just going for a modern looking, soldier, I think it works. But I'm not sure if I like the vest for Grunt. Just, I'm a traditionalist with Grunt. Grunt was actually, I've talked about this before, but Grunt was actually my very first G.I. Joe figure. So even though Grunt was never like a super exciting character, he has sentimental value for me because he was my very first G.I. Joe figure that I ever got. And I got him at a Walgreens store. My dad took me, like, we were going to get a haircut, and my dad, we went into Walgreens that was right next door to the barber shop, and I remember picking him. I got him and the Cobra snake armor were my very first two GI Joe items. So T glue. Any insider info on 1027 reveals? Not really. I was looking into the GI, or not GI Joe, but Ghostbusters, because like originally I was thinking it was just going to be another HasLab, but it definitely looks like it's product, not a HasLab. So I did a little digging, and I don't have any specifics, but it does sound like maybe what we're going to see tomorrow might end up being Target exclusives, but I don't know exactly what it's going to be. There will be non-Target exclusive stuff coming for Ghostbusters. So, I mean, basically with the... All right, sorry about that. My cat stopped the stream. All right, so we got Chuckles here with the glasses, which don't fit very well. Kind of like Buzzer. But I don't really remember Chuckles wearing. I mean, I guess the sunglasses go with the whole Hawaiian shirt look. He's got those 80s style headphones. You got the Hawaiian. I forget what these things are called. Little flower thing. Oh, and he's got a Walkman here. Kind of looks like Soundwave. If it was blue, you might be Soundwave. He's got binoculars. He's got the beat up head sculpt. He's got the brass knuckle fists. He's got handcuffs. Also broken handcuffs where the chain's been broken. He's got a pistol for his holster. He's got a file. So I guess he stole this. I guess this is what he stole from Baroness and the twins. Looks like plans for the Crimson Bat, which you can put, of course, in the briefcase that he comes with, the empty briefcase. You can put other things in there too, but I guess these are supposed to be scratch marks. And he's got a knife. I like the gold watch too. It's a nice little added touch. I'm not sure what this is, but it's kind of familiar looking, but I can't place what this is supposed to be. But I feel like I've seen that before. Overall, face sculpt I think looks pretty good though. I think, let's see, is that lighting? I've got a little bit of a blemish here on mine. I could probably get that off. I don't know, is this supposed to be a scar? Even have like, I like how they even on the watch have like numbers, like a countdown or something. So, all in all, not a favorite character of mine, but I think they did a pretty good job with the figure. Nerdler says, I have neither Chuckles or Lowlight. Is the face similar? So gotta get his goggles off. A little bit, but like if you want to use the Chuckles head with the low light figure without the ski cap, I think it would probably work. Jerry says some kind of 80s pager, pinless arms. Yes, Chuckles does have pinless arms and pinless. Actually, he does have pins on the legs, but pinless arms. Can't really see the pins on the legs. Most of the Joe figures have these days. They are different. Chuckles looks like Flash Gordon from the a little bit, but I mean that's kind of. I mean, he was just like a blonde dude. Uh, Keel, if he is, I'm not aware of it. I've never heard that before, but I won't sit here and swear that he's not. So I don't know. What's up, Quinn? Having a toy-rific evening. Hopefully you are as well. Jerry says, we're attending a wedding in Hawaii. That'll be my attire. I've been to Hawaii once. So it was definitely a very cool trip. Very expensive, but very cool trip. All right, so our final figure of the day is the 2-pack, the Steel Brigade or Steel Court Trooper 2-pack. So I never had the original Steel Brigade Trooper, which, if I remember correctly, wasn't it a mail away? Wasn't it kind of like the first version of Hasbro's Selfie series, where you could like have your own, supposed to be like your own face or something you have on the figure? So I guess one of these is supposed to be a male version, and the other is a female version. Yeah, I almost kind of wish that we got, instead of like, I mean, you could use these as just generic GI Joe soldiers, which I guess is kind of the idea behind them. But I almost kind of wish we get like the green shirt guys that you would always see in the cartoon, the generic green shirt guys. So again, you got female, and then you got the male. But like I said, I really got this set more for the jetpack than anything else. Of course, remember the original toy line. You had to get it was an actual kind of like a little vehicle set with, to get the jetpack. You had to get the little launch pad that came with Grand Slam, which was basically just flash with silver padding as opposed to red padding. So besides the army builders, you get a bunch of weapons and stuff. So it's kind of like almost like a weapons pack with two, generic soldiers. Which Salome's back again. So, but jetpack to me is, I always love the jetpacks. When they would use them in the cartoon and stuff. Like in the original opening scene where like Stalker just randomly throws a stick of dynamite out and shoots it for no real reason. But I always thought that scene was cool. It's like he wasn't like blowing anything up. He just throws the dynamite out and shoots it, and it explodes in the air. I bet Lady J head swap would look good on the female. Yeah, it might. No, I didn't get the Crimson Strike team. It looks good. It looks like a nice set, but I don't know. I didn't get it because I prefer the original looks of all those characters, so I would only display on my shelf. Yeah, I wouldn't put two different Baroness out on the same shelf, so I just didn't feel like I would end up really using it. But it was definitely, it's a nice set if you wanted like a crimson. Um, if you were looking for a crimson like took your Crimson Bat, your Crimson Guard, your Crimson Viper, and your now your Baroness and Crimson Twins, you could definitely kind of set up a nice Crimson army. I will say, so with these helmets, they remind me of Daft Punk, but I don't like these shoulder pads. Like the shoulders, kind of, I don't know, they're too. I don't really like that look. I'm guessing these will be the same legs that we get, the same lower body that we basically get with Airborne. You get this looks more like something you would see on a Halo figure. You get all kinds of rifles. You get various explosion effects, which is nice. So they do come out of the package. Some of these effects are a little bit warped out of the packaging, so you might have to heat them up to straighten them out a little bit. I like the female one looks better to me than the male one. I don't know. I just don't like the shoulders on the male one. I will say the joints feel a little gummy on these two figures as well. Like here on the ankles with the female one, definitely have kind of that gummy, soft joint feel to it. The male one isn't as bad. But I don't like those shoulders. It's just something, it's kind of off to me with how they look. So let's do a few. So yeah, find what I did with a buzzer. There he is. Oh, now I misplaced buzzer's glass. See, I told you those things are going to be hard. Pain in the butt. So our Dreadnought family. Jerry says use the Black Widow head, one of my Black Widow heads on the cover girl. I have not I might try that with the Black Widow. blonde hair. Like if you want a blonde hair cover girl. Sorry, I'm trying to find. I lost Buzzer's glass. I don't think Salome got them, but oh well, I'll find them. Wait, no. I keep finding Chuckles glasses, but not a. Oh well, oh, they'll turn up. So we got our dreadnoughts here. So Ripper will be joining the team very soon, and then hopefully Torch shortly after that. So this is another. I showed you this one earlier, but the Snow Serpent's really nice. And I also like with Snow Job. I think they did a good job with Snow Job. Though if you got all the stuff on his back, he is a little top heavy. And then we also have Torpedo is another one I like. I always liked Torpedo as a kid. And then the Cobra Eel. So these are two pretty nice figures. I think they did a great job with scrap iron. So, not one of my missiles is like falling off. I saw this guy. I saw scrap iron was already like being discounted at like Target stores and stuff. If you can find scrap iron on discount, it's definitely worth picking up. But even full price, I think they did a really good job with him. One of my this missile is kind of like and the drone doesn't stay elevated very well like that near the missiles. But still, overall, I like what they did. I like the drone that they gave us. Vast improvement over like the original toy and everything. I think they did a pretty good job with Shipwreck. Though I wish with Polly, I wish they had just put like a hole up here on his shoulder with like a little peg, so that you could put, like you can kind of stick him in, like I have him stick into this joint. But I wish they had actually put a hole up here so that you could, because I mean, Polly sits on his shoulder. He doesn't really sit on his wrist. I mean, they put the hole here on his wrist So I feel like that's how they should have done it. So like I said, you can kind of get the little peg stuck into this joint so that he stays. He sits a little crooked when you do it, but I've managed to do that. But it would have been nice if they had actually given us a little hole there. The MM says Scrap Iron is one of the best figures of the year. Yeah, I think they did a really good job. And Scrap Iron was never really like a huge favorite character of mine as a kid. Like he was one of my least favorite Cobras. But I think they definitely did a really good job with him. Tiglu says needs his hiss. Yeah, I'm guessing we'll probably. I would say the earliest would be the end of November. The latest would be December. But in that time frame, I think is when the hiss tanks will start to ship out. I know they've started to arrive, at the shipping ports, but it still may take them several weeks before they actually start mailing them out. But put the rope over the shoulder, and there is a hole for poly. Really? Let me see that. Oh, you're right. I don't think of that. Yeah. Fit great. I might have to heat it up or something. There you go. Yeah, that's like. I don't know if that's what they intended, but that works pretty good. Oops. Yeah, I like. Thank you, Henry. I like that. Hadn't even thought of that. Like I was like, why did we get this really big giant? I mean, I know the original figure came with like an actual string with his hook, but and you got the hook, but it's not like you could really use this folded up rope with the hook. So I was like, what was the point of that? But now it makes kind of sense. Yeah, I like that. Joes are pumping out. Yep. Helix just hit my pile. Yeah, same here. I just got the notice that she came in stock today. That's another one where it's like she's not a favorite character. I mean, she's from the IDW comics and stuff. I have the first 3 3/4 inch figure of her that they did. So I went on and got the 6 inch, but she's definitely not like high. Like there are definitely other characters I would have rather seen we get before we got her, but I kind of understand why they're trying to mix up some of the newer ones with Jerry says my uncle had his parrot on his shoulder like that, and a hawk swooped down and grabbed it away. Seriously? But yeah, Helix. Hopefully Hawk. Speaking of Hawks, hopefully Hawk will be coming in stock soon, and obviously Ripper as well. I was really surprised when like Big Bad Toy Store got Buzzer in so early. But G.I. Joe Classified continues to be my favorite action figure line right now. It's definitely the one that I find myself buying the most figures for. Like I st- I get like I'm not really getting the Tiger Force and Python Patrol stuff. I got like some of the first ones, but I kind of pulled back on those. But as far as like just regular versions of the characters, I've been pretty much picking them all up, even though like some are not as favorites as others. But like I want to see Blowtorch. I was happy to hear we're getting Alpine. I think it was a couple live streams ago where I said, if we're getting Quick Kick and we've got Bazooka, we got to get Alpine. So I'm glad that announcement came out. And I'm looking forward to Mutt and Junkyard. Blowtorch, though, is definitely one that we need to be getting soon. I'm trying to think who else. Like from the original, like what I call the original Joes, we need Flash, we need Grand Slam, we need Steeler, we need Zap. I don't think anyone else. I think that might be it for like the original team of Joes. Oh, Clutch. But we're getting the Vamp, so yeah. So I think Clutch is coming with the Vamp. So yeah, I think that's it for the original. But then what I like the second season, or we need like Blowtorch. We need who else? There's some others. Now I can't think. Yeah, but I think Clutch is coming with the I said short fuse. The mortar soldier. The problem with those guys is like all those guys, like they just pretty much wore generic green outfits, so they were kind of boring. But we still need them just because they're like the original team members. Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, pre-order dates mean very little, so definitely you gotta just if you pre-order a bunch. I don't. That's what honestly I don't pre-order a lot of stuff anymore. I pre-order you know a few GI Joes here. If it's something I think it's going to be hard, like it's going to sell out fast or something, I'll pre-order it. But I feel like it's not, if it's going to be readily available, I generally don't pre-order because you just lose track. Either it takes forever to come out and you lose track, you forget about it, or it comes out much sooner than you were expecting, and then it's like, oh, do I have the money allocated for it? Oh shit, I wasn't expecting that for 3 months from now. So I do not pre-order as much as I used to. Again, unless I think it's something that's going to be like really hard, something that's going to sell out or something. Otherwise, I just usually wait until it comes in stock, and then just buy it when it comes in stock. Or when you start to hear it like come in stock, then I'll like go pre-order it or something. Oh yeah, General Flag. We never got a General Flag in the original toy line. I want to say they finally did General Flag when they did uh, those comic packs, like several years ago. Jerry, so I'm glad he got funded for those who wanted him, but yeah, I'm like, and like I'm seeing people already like talk. What are we gonna get next year for a HasLab? And I'm like, really, man? We just literally got done with this HasLab. Do we already need to be start talking about what next year's HasLab's? No, I'm glad people that wanted him are gonna get him. I feel like I feel like we were all put under like, well, not stress, but I don't know. I feel like the numbers just, looking at those numbers and trying to predict what's going to happen, it's kind of pointless because, I just feel like Hasbro, waits and puts a lot of those numbers in at the very end, so you're not really getting a clear picture. I mean, I really don't think Giant Man was any, now that we see those final numbers, I really feel like Giant Man was never really in that much danger of not funding. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if Hasbro pretty much knew it was going to fund. They might not have known exactly how many overseas backers that they had, but like probably had an idea like, oh, we've got at least 3,000, backers from overseas that we're going to be able to add to this counter at the very end. So this is definitely going to fund. So I feel like, people got worried. And again, when you looked at the numbers, I mean, it definitely didn't look good, but the Nerd Alert says, I wanted Giant Man, but decided to hold off. Still waiting on the hiss, plus my apartment is. Yeah, I mean, it gets harder. Every time these big giant items come out, it gets harder and harder to, like, be able to find a place for them. Like, I wanted the Thundercat Slayer that Super 7 did. I was really tempted, but there was no way I was going to be able to find a place for it. So I didn't end up getting that one. Tiglu says, Fing Fang Foom or vehicle. Yeah, it's hard to say, but Fing Fang Foom would be my choice. And I mean, I've heard Dwight Stahl say multiple times how he'd like to get another crack at that one. So, like, I feel like if it's up to him, it would be Fing Fang Foom. I just like I feel like Giant Man was more of a Disney choice than Hasbro themselves, but being it was the anniversary of the Avengers and everything. Jerry says, I wish they unlocked the scroll head instead over the zombie one. Yeah. I still say that Hasbro should just throw that thing in, that scroll face in, because literally 111 backers shy. I feel like that should be close enough that they're not really going to take a loss. Like they've got to have enough of a margin, that they could handle that not having the 111 backers and still be able to make a profit on the thing. So I feel like it would just be a nice gesture of goodwill if they just threw that in because it was so close. And if they had let it go for like another day or two, I think it probably would have gotten over the 14,000. But I mean, for me, I still think most people just got it for Giant Man. I don't think, if you didn't get those faceplates, I don't think it would be the end of the world. But I just feel like it was so close to 111 that they should just kind of throw it in as a goodwill gesture. And who knows? Maybe maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe that'll be the announcement. Maybe they'll make an announcement at 10:27 and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna throw in the scroll face for everyone who backed it." I I saw some people floating the idea that Hasbro should sell that thing separately, the scroll faceplate. I think that would be a horrible idea. The outrage that would come out if they tried to make people pay extra for that when it was only 111 short. I think that would be a terrible idea if they tried to sell it separately. If it was like nowhere close to unlocking, then you might get away with that. But being so close, I think if they tried to ask people to pay even more money for that, I just think it would be horrible backlash. Arthur Chen says, for a lot of people, the joy is the act of collecting, not the actual playing. It's like collecting statues. I'm not sure how statues play in that, but I do think you're right that some people just like collect for the sake of it's like the thrill of the hunt. Like, ooh, I've got this. And then like they have it for 2 seconds and then they're already looking at the next thing. So yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of people they spend more time focusing on what's to come as opposed to what they already have and enjoy it. So yeah, I would agree with you there. But like statues, I'm sure people who collect statues do the same thing, but I wouldn't necessarily associate that kind of behavior with just statues. Yeah, stretch goals were trash. I just got Giant Man. I'm happy. Well, Giant Man, like, if I had Giant Man, I the faceplates would go in a drawer. I would never use the faceplates. So for me personally, I wouldn't care that much about the faceplates. But I think some people, whether it's for toy photography or, we have gotten a number of different scroll figures here recently that people might want to display. Same thing. Obviously, we've got a lot of zombie figures, so I feel like if you're really into that kind of thing, then you could definitely get some use out of those faceplates. But like I would display it with the regular Giant Man and not the smiling one. I didn't like the smiling face, so just the regular looking Giant Man face is what I would be going with. All right, well, I think we're gonna call it a night. I know it's kind of a slow night tonight. Um, Tiku says a real, yeah. I don't think we're ever gonna get real. And I assume you mean like actual metal claws since adamantium is not real. But yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna get real like role play Wolverine claws because that would be a deadly weapon, and I don't see Hasbro ever putting that out. Punisher van, but I feel like a Punisher van could be put out at regular retail. I don't feel like a Punisher van necessarily would need to be a HasLab. Not saying they would do a Punisher van, but I feel like, a Punisher van would be more in keeping with, like, say, a Vamp Jeep or something for G.I. Joe. I just don't think it's elaborate enough to really fit into the HasLab model, which I think is where part of the problem they ran in with last year's Ghost Rider and Car. All right, anyway, we're gonna call it a night, but tomorrow, remember, we've got 10:27, which starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So even though technically it's supposed to be for premium members, my guess is the link will end up going out online where anyone will watch. That's usually what happens. Um, but even if it doesn't, we'll have, whatever is revealed, we'll definitely have that info up on the websites if you need it. And then, of course, the following day is going to be the MCM London convention, which again, the panel Hasbro's doing is going to be at like 4 for us here on the East Coast of the United States. It's going to like start at, I want to say at like 4 a.m. in the morning. So when you wake up Saturday, we'll probably have coverage of whatever is revealed during the MCM convention. So it's been kind of a slow week overall, but definitely, looks like we're going to finish out the month with some reveals and stuff. So, and then like I said, a lot of pre-orders starting tomorrow and then kind of going through the end of the month. So tune in for that stuff, and as always, guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.